Thank you for joining me for Floral Wednesday. Today we're going to be making collage flowers from the Cozy Nook Collage Art Kit. Let's take a look at the papers we'll be using today. These are from the core project of the Cozy Nook collection. And it's this sheet that we're working on. So it's the floral shapes on collage paper. It's actually on a quarter sheet. So there's 4 designs. And then the second page we'll want is this page with the white circles. I've already gone ahead and cut out everything today, and if you haven't done that yet, you can take a look at the getting started video, and I go over the details for cutting it out. For the white circles, we're only going to need, there's a whole page, but we're only going to need 4 small, 4 medium, and 4 large circles, and I've already cut those out here. I want to take a look at the sampler page for this collection. The kit comes pre-printed with the flower shapes on the painted papers. And let me show you here. These are the painted papers. But at the end of the video, I'll show you how you can get them on any of the other papers in the collection. And just to give you a sneak peek at what we'll be doing in some other videos, and that's creating the floral collages. So here's an 8 by 8 inch collage. And then here's some ideas for mini collages using this collection. Okay, so let's get started. I have everything laid out exactly how it was laid out in the sheet. So we have large petals, medium, and small. And then we have large, medium, small, large, medium, small circles. And then I did the same for each of the colors there. I've already cut out my 4 large circles, 4 medium, and 4 small there. And you can see the 3 different size flowers. I have my Mod Podge here. This is in a deli container. I have a brush. I always like to have a wet and dry cloth when I'm working with Mod Podge. And that's it for the supplies that we need today. Oh, the last thing is I'm working on a silicone mat. There's 2 ways to go about gluing these petals onto the white circles, and one is using a brush. So I'm just dipping that brush in the Mod Podge, and I can paint some of the Mod Podge right on that. Just stick that in, and then we're going to grab the petals. So I'm going to go ahead and grab all 5 of the large petals, and then all we're going to be doing is sticking them onto that circle. So rotating, and we're just eyeing it. They don't have to be perfect, but we're just eyeing it to get the 5 petals on there. And then that's it. So that one's sliding, so I'm going to push it down. We're going to complete all of them like this, and then we'll add the centers. And what we're going to do with the centers, we could use the same color, but it's a little bit more exciting if you choose a color from another palette. So I'm just pressing these down again. Sometimes if you don't get enough glue down there, you might end up having to put a little bit more on. I'm going to move that to the side, and I'm going to go ahead with another large flower, but I'm going to do this one a little bit different. I'm going to take this and I'm going to dip the tip in the glue and then push it down. So that's another option. Sometimes if you get too much glue, it doesn't stick. But all of these are sticking just fine. And I'm going to lift it up and move it. If my workspace is getting messy, I can just take that wet cloth and the dry cloth and then clean it up. So moving on to the blue. One of the other things I do sometimes is just have a little pile of glue off to the side, and then I can just dip it in there. So those are a couple options. And again, just going around the circle, trying to eye it out for the 5 petals. Some of our collections have 4 petals, some have 6. I think some even have 7 petals. So you're just kind of eyeing it. If some of the petals overlap, that's fine. That's what we see in nature. So there's the 3rd one and then the last one. So this dipping process is my preferred method rather than putting the glue first on the white circle. So that's the last of the large flowers. And now moving on to the medium. This is a medium white circle. So again, dipping and then pressing each petal. So we'll do the exact same thing. I'll go ahead and get all of these medium ones done and speed up the video. Okay, so moving on to the last flowers. These are the small circles here. And before I do that, I do want to show you that you can experiment. You can actually add some of the small petals if you like. I'm not going to glue these down because for this set, I'm going to go ahead and do the large, medium, and small all separate. But if you want to explore, you get the idea. So just, you can add layers of petals. And then you would be able to put that center on just like that. So that's an idea for you for later. And I'm going to go ahead and complete my last 4 flowers. Okay, so that's the last flower. I'm going to move that aside and just wash off my space here. And then I'm going to go ahead and organize these. I'll do large, medium, small, just like this. Just move these aside. Okay, we have a row of large, medium, and small. And now we have all of these circles. There's 3 extra per color. So that allows you to just choose the ones that you want, but then you can end up using the extra ones in your collages. And if you end up losing one of the smaller pieces, you should have an extra one. So for these, all we're doing, sometimes I like to just set them down Just choosing a different color than what's on there. You know, do I want to do all the purples with the yellow? We can do them all the same, like that. All the yellows with the pink background, or we could mix it up. Do one of the purples with the yellow, with it mostly pink. And I actually want a small one, so like that. So just play around and see how you want to lay them out. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. So that's what I'm thinking for mine. And so the next step is to just add a little dab of glue to the center and then stick it down, and that's it. So we'll go piece by piece, gluing the centers to the flowers. Okay, so they're all complete. Let's take a look. I'm just moving them over a bit. I'm going to store these in a container. So I'm going to just pile those up. These again can be used for collage fodder. If you want, you could take the small ones and maybe try to layer it so that you have something like that. So play around with that if you'd like. So anything with collage can be layered. These are the containers that I like to keep my extra pieces in. Just keeping things organized. And then for the flowers, actually I can just put them in the same one. So we'll put all of those in. I have the ones that I made before. This I showed you, and this can be used as collage fodder. I actually used it right here in this collage. And then I said I'd show you how to open up the palette to other papers. So again, we created the flowers in this set here, but all of our kits come with black and white templates. So this is the black and white template for the Cozy Nook collection. You can print these out and then put them back into the printer and then print any other papers on top of it. So you would want to choose a quarter sheet, and this is an example. So we have, let's pull this out. These patterns are these papers here. I did the floral shapes on this set here, and then also on this set. And then you could also put it on any of the papers from any of the other collections. This is the floral shapes printed on the penguin palette. So those are some other ideas for you. For the mixing and matching, I have a mixing and matching video I'll link below, so you can check that out. And I hope you are excited to start exploring the floral collages. Thank you for joining me today.